Hello, welcome to my channel, I'm glad to see you. Today we'd like to try something different. I love talking about games, and I also love recommending games for like-minded players with good taste like yourself. So I decided to start this series to do just that. But before we start, please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. With that out of the way, let's get started. The rules are simple. We pick a relatively popular game, do a quick analysis of it to understand the 3 most important qualities it has, and trying to find a game that could fit on these 3 categories, meaning that people that like game A would most likely enjoy game B. And we'll start the series with one of the PS1 darlings, and one of my favorite games growing up, Driver 2. This game was one of the staples on the original PS1, and it was as popular as it was influential on the gaming industry, constantly being hailed as one of the games that walked so that GTA 3 could run. And if you played it, you could see why. It was an early attempt at an open world game where you could drive freely, if you're playing Take a Ride that is, something that is synonymous with GTA to this day. But enough about its story, let's try to nail down the 3 things that make this game special, beginning with
I'm gonna pop your neck with my hands.
one of the first things we notice after booting the game is how cinematographic it is. And I'm not just talking about the cutscenes, which there are plenty in this game. I'm also talking about the way the missions sometimes are framed. With interesting angles and well-acted scripts, it's pretty clear early that there was a big budget behind this game, even if it was developed in a rush, causing it to run like garbage on the original PlayStation. And although the story in this game is a bit hard to follow at some points,
Rosanna Soto. Where's she heading?
I tell you nothing. You got no authority.
Piensas que quiero tu sangre en mi camisa?
every time we unlock a new cutscene, it was always a little treat. And the developers knew it too, so much so that when you load your save file, they give you a brief summary of what happened so far in the form of a cutscene, which is something that was usually exclusive to TV shows at that point, showing exactly what they wanted to convey to the player. After beating the missions tied to the cutscenes, you also unlock them to be able to view at any time you want, without needing to beat the game from scratch again, which is a plus. So if you play this game back in the day, there's a high chance this game impressed you with its presentation, even if the graphics weren't the best. Take this mission for example, where you have to flee from Chicago into Havana. You drive at night in the rain, while being chased by bad guys, while a very catchy 70s tunes plays. It's a vibe. Kinda stressful, but at the same time very cool looking. A memorable way to wrap up Chicago. But enough about this. Let's go to our next point, which is as mentioned before, this game was very ambitious for its time, perhaps a bit too much judging how the PS1 can barely handle it. And it is one of the first examples of what we know today as an open world sandbox game, because unlike the previous game, in Driver 2, you can get out of a car and do things, like for example pressing a button, or sitting, or actually sitting. And the most important thing, change cars if your previous one is too banged up or too hot for the police. When you think about it, these 3 things are actually all you could do while on foot. But believe me, it didn't feel like it at the time. Being able to get out of my car and wander around was groundbreaking. And not only you could explore freely, there's actually 4 huge cities for you to explore. Chicago with its many skyscrapers, above ground trains, and its bridges that were a sight to behold. Then there's Havana, with its classic cars, rustic buildings, and a general chill vibes. Then there's Las Vegas that comes to life during the night, and that would be incredible to look at if the draw distance of the game wasn't so pitiful. And last but not least, Rio de Janeiro. The first time in my life that I saw a Brazilian city being represented in a video game. Something that blew the mind of little young me, and it captures the vibe of it really well, although it only shows a fraction of it. The sense of freedom was a very important aspect for Driver 2 players at the time, and I'm sure that just like me, there were thousands of players that spent many hours just horsing around and take a ride.
It's not fair, 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 not fair!
But enough about that. Let's get on a third point. Driver 2 gameplay is very interesting, because it's not a racing game, but you do race cars in it, mostly chasing someone or being chased by someone, and it would not be as important as it is if the main thing you do on it, driving, wasn't phenomenal. The way cars handle in this game is great. They feel heavy, sometimes a bit unwieldy, but when you take a corner perfectly, leaving the cops in the dust, you truly feel like you're conquering the machine and not the other way around. And it's no Gran Turismo, but it does feel very realistic, especially at the time where simulation races were few and far between, particularly ones that were actually fun to play. Driver 2 game feel is very interesting, because it is not an easy game to master, and even when you do master it, it will still not be a cakewalk. But even though it can be very unfair at times, it only makes you want to conquer it even more, and that is not something that many games can achieve. Well, there it is, the 3 factors that make Driver 2 stand out in my opinion. And a game that matches these 3 attributes in my opinion is World's Scariest Police Chases, and here's why.
Unit 1, spy strip is in place approximately 2 miles ahead of your location. Roger, Control.
World's Scariest Police Chases, I'm just gonna call it Police Chases from now on, okay? Okay. Is based on an actual TV show, so naturally they would want to capture the spirit of it, and the way they did it is endearing. They actually brought the narrator John Bonnell from the show to narrate the game.
I'm Sheriff John Bonnell. I've been personally involved in pursuits for 26 years, and I've never seen anything that could be called a good pursuit. Every single one is terrifying and dangerous.
When good meets bad and neither side backs down, the results are explosive.
And it's incredibly cheesy, I love it. The cops you control also talk during the missions and actually do a good job of conveying a sense of urgency during some missions.
Control, this is Unit 1. Nothing to report. Over. It's a quiet night. A little too quiet.
And the way some of the missions are represented is very well done. Some of them take place at night or during the rain, and it's usually during some of the more dramatic missions to amp it up the tension a bit. It's great stuff.
Control, this is Unit 1. We have the situation under control. Suspect is down and in custody.
Roger that, Unit 1.
Control, we're now heading west on Collins Boulevard. Donuts.
The way the sandbox works here is a bit different from Driver 2. This time you can actually leave the car on foot, and there's not 4 huge cities for you to explore. Instead, we are able to make our cop partner lean out of the window to shoot at suspects, which not only is a necessity against a few fugitives, but it's also a great way to shake up the formula that Driver 2 established. And some missions are pure adrenaline because of it, to the point you've almost changed the game genre to car combat.
He's heading for the stadium. We have to stop him before he kills someone.
Instead of having 4 real-world diverse cities, in Police Chases you only have one fictional city called Ashland. And not only it is huge, it's actually very well made, with many different hotspots for chases that look very different from each other. From downtown to the beaches, from the suburbs to the industrial area, Ashland feels like a real city, very realized and lived in. Instead of take a ride, in Police Chases you have free patrol, where you're free to roam around the city and can chase suspects at your own pace. And depending on how well you did on the story mode, or if you use the cheat codes, yeah, I know who you are, you little scamps, you unlock a bunch of different weapons to use here, be it to uphold the law or do some carnage. I spent hours on this mode, just screwing around having fun as a kid. Hell, I still do to this day. Here's where I think that Driver 2 enjoyers will love police chases, the gameplay. They feel incredibly similar. The same semi-realistic handling model of Driver 2 is applied here, where mistakes are a lot more punishing than your regular arcade game. But mastering the controls and drifting around corners feels very rewarding. But different from Driver 2, where sometimes the CPU controlled cars were on rails, unable to make mistakes, in here you can sometimes see the CPU struggling to control the cars just like you might, so it feels fair in a way. This game is also quite difficult at some missions, but let's be honest, if you played Driver 2 and you survived this, and this, you'll be fine, don't worry. And that about sums it up. I really enjoy both games, as you can probably tell by this video. And if I can convince at least one person to give World's Scariest Police Chases a try, I feel like I did my job. Let me know what you think about this video format. I intend to make a few more like this one. And if you guys have any recommendation of games that are similar, let me know in the comments for me to check them out. Thank you very much for watching my video, I really appreciate it. And if you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. That's it for now, bye bye.